I've lived most of my life feeling like every day was a battle. 19 years of habits that felt impossible to break. When I first tried to quit, I thought the secret was discipline, so I built calendars. I made charts. I told myself that if I could just reach a certain number, I'd finally be free. Day 1, day 10, day 30. I wrote those numbers on my wall like trophies, but every time I slipped, it felt like I'd burned the whole house down. Because when that number dropped back to 0, so did my self-worth. I started realizing the countdown was running my life more than the addiction ever did. I'd wake up, and the first thing I'd think about was, what day is it now? Not how I felt, not whether I was proud of myself, just the number. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't chasing healing. I was chasing distance from the person I used to be. But you can't heal by running from yourself. You heal by sitting with the mess, by listening, by choosing better right now. One night, I ripped the calendar down. The paper tore loud in the quiet. I threw it in the trash, sat on the floor, and whispered, "Today is all I have. Today is enough." That was the first honest thing I'd said to myself in years. When I stopped keeping score, the days suddenly got quieter. At first, that silence scared me. Without the calendar, I didn't know if I was doing well or failing. There was no number to measure me anymore, just a mirror, and facing yourself without numbers is hard. The mornings were the hardest. That space between waking up and deciding who you'll be today, that's where every battle begins. Before, I used to grab my phone, open my tracker, and check if I'd made it another day. Now I sit on the edge of my bed and breathe. Some days I talk to myself out loud. Okay, we're still here, let's start again. I learned that presence doesn't mean everything feels good. It just means you're brave enough to feel whatever comes. When cravings hit, when old thoughts crawl back, I stop asking how long has it been and start asking what can I do right now. Maybe it's a walk, maybe a call, maybe just turning off the light and breathing through it. It's small, but small keeps you alive. For the first few months, I still slipped, but instead of rewriting my count to 0, I just told myself, today's not over yet, because a bad moment doesn't ruin a good day, and a bad day doesn't erase a good week. That mindset changed everything. I started journaling again, not pages of guilt, just observations. What triggered me? What helped? When you write that stuff down, you start seeing patterns, and patterns are what you can actually change. Then came something I hadn't felt in years. Time. Real time. Not time measured in streaks or resets, but mornings that actually felt like mornings. Evenings that ended without shame. I started cooking again. Went on walks without my headphones. I started to hear my own thoughts, and for once they didn't sound like punishment. People think recovery is a straight climb, but it's more like learning to walk again on shaky ground. There's nothing glamorous about it. It's quiet work, washing dishes, going to bed early, saying no, but every one of those moments is proof that you're still fighting. And the funny thing is, when I stopped counting, I started noticing things I'd ignored for years. The way sunlight hit my walls in the morning, the sound of rain on the roof, tiny details I'd never cared about before. When you live one day at a time, the world starts feeling brand new, because you finally notice it. When I stopped living by numbers, I had to figure out who I actually was. And for so long, my whole identity was tied to what I was running from. I wasn't me, I was the person trying to quit. And when that label disappears, there's a strange emptiness left behind. I started asking simple questions. What do I even like? What kind of person do I want to be when I'm not fighting this thing? At first, I had no clue, so I experimented. I read books again. I went to coffee shops and sat quietly without my phone. I relearned how to be bored without destroying myself. The more I filled my days with ordinary things, the more distance I put between myself and the old habit, not because I was counting, but because I was living. Self-forgiveness was the hardest part. Every relapse echoed in my head like a verdict. You'll never change. But shame only keeps you stuck. Forgiveness lets you move. So I started treating every mistake like feedback instead of failure. Each slip taught me something about triggers, about stress, about loneliness. Every lesson gave me another small tool to stay present next time. Slowly, I began to trust myself again. Not because I was perfect, but because I kept showing up. I'd look back at old journals and realize I didn't quit this week, I handled it. That quiet pride is what recovery actually feels like. These days, I don't talk about how many days it's been. If someone asks, I just say, I'm working on myself. Because healing isn't a countdown, it's a lifestyle. It's brushing your teeth, going to work, laughing with someone, and realizing halfway through the day that you didn't think about the old habit once. That's what freedom looks like. Not fireworks, not milestones, just peace in the middle of an ordinary day. So if you're somewhere in that cycle right now, staring at your own calendar, feeling like you'll never escape it, take a deep breath and tear the page. Today is enough. You don't need to earn forgiveness. You just need to practice living. Every sunrise gives you another chance to start again. You don't have to count the days anymore. Just keep showing up for this one. The funny thing about healing is that you don't notice it happening. It's quiet. It sneaks up on you in the middle of a normal day. One morning you'll wake up, make coffee, look out the window, and realize you haven't thought about the old habit in weeks. You'll laugh, not because life suddenly got easy, but because you finally stopped fighting time. I used to think recovery would feel like climbing a mountain, some huge dramatic moment where everything clicked, but it's more like walking a long peaceful road. Sometimes you stumble, sometimes you sit down and rest, but you keep moving forward, one step, one breath, one choice at a time. And maybe that's the lesson hidden in all of this, that life isn't about tracking perfection, it's about collecting presence. All the little ordinary moments you once ignored, the smell of rain, the sound of dishes, the way light spills across your floor, those are the rewards you've been chasing all along. If you're listening to this and you're somewhere in the middle of your own fight, remember this, you don't owe anyone a number. You don't have to prove how far you've come. You just have to keep choosing to begin, because beginnings don't have an expiration date. You can start again right now, this second, this heartbeat. And if you fall, don't erase the progress. The fact that you still care enough to try again means you're already healing. Every time you get back up, you're writing a new story. You're not counting the days anymore, you're creating them. Take a deep breath. Look around you. This is your life right here, right now. Make this moment count.